Hey, it's Chris and Rich from the Foiling Mag here to do a deep dive review on the brand new Appletree Appleslice V3, third generation. Comes in 7 different sizes, all the way from 40 litre up to 100 litres. And it's pitched as their highly versatile, do everything, go everywhere foil board.
Where we start with this probably is making some comparisons to the previous model. So the Appleslice V2 was a super popular board, and they've kind of augmented it and made it a more modernistic shape and probably evolved it to be able to use smaller foils as people's abilities are getting better. So in a way, if you've had the Appleslice V2 and you feel completely comfortable on it, the V3 is kind of a step up in performance and will probably allow you to access some much smaller foils. So I've comfortably been going down to sort of sub 700 foils on this, which for a 90 kilo guy is like quite small, I think, for our conditions. So tech wise, something that's retained from the previous board is the little scoop in the deck here where your front foot goes. And this means that the foil box is perfectly aligned with the deck. So, and then it gives you a really nice planted feeling on your front foot. The board overall has become much narrower. So this is now down to, I think it's 22.5 inches on a 80 litre board that we've got here. And the board has got a little bit longer. So probably what was about 5 foot is now 5'4" in equivalent volumes. The inserts in the front here are in a Y configuration, and on the back it's square. So it's like a traditional setup if you want to run foot straps there. There's a data tag thing in the back which lets you scan into your phone and then assign your kind of name and telephone number and address in case you lose it, which is a neat feature. And that's glassed into there somewhere, which is pretty nifty. Flipping her over, we've got a super long foil box, which is placed quite far forward. I think much further forward than the old boards, the V2, to account for a little bit more length. So that helps that balance that nose weight a bit more. The chines and the rail, the base here, is much sharper and it runs all the way into that nose. So the old board used to smooth a little bit into the nose, and this one's pretty much all the way to that tip, isn't it? There's 2 little concaves here and a spine running down this section. And then from here backwards, the whole thing is flat. And it promotes a super, super early release.
Crazy fast.
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely edging into mid-length territory, yeah. I'd say. The mid-length will be the buzzword of the season, as I'm sure everyone's aware.
This takes from that straight away, doesn't it? It's so fast. As soon as you get any motion, you just feel the acceleration come, and it feels like it's almost like you're holding it down because it wants to accelerate and take off so quickly. It
wants to take off very, very fast.
It tracks incredibly straight, and that's what really impressed me. Is some boards, when they accelerate, they always feel like a bit of a skipping stone and like they're going to slip almost. Whereas this, I guess, because it's got very parallel rails and they're very sharp rails, and the spine which they've got on the nose, those features kind of just keep it tracking in this straight line, and it just goes pop, pop, pop speed and up. Yeah,
it just wants to go forward, doesn't it? And yeah, as I sort of mentioned previously, it's really let me step down foil size or 2 in equivalent conditions. So where previously I'd have to ride with loads of power to get those tiny foils going, now, because this gains surface speed so quick, it takes off and goes. And it's really let me access some interesting stuff.
And the touchdown then makes it really forgiving as well. And even if you're underpowered and you come down, you're on a little foil, whereas other ones might bog down, and then you've got that shit fight of restarting again, trying to get it back up. Yeah. With this, it just bounces, springs straight back up like it was nothing, and off you go again.
Yeah. It's been really interesting running this concurrently with the Skipper. Because we've both spent quite a bit of time on both those boards.
Very different.
Very different. Hey, this one feels slightly narrower. I think that may just be because it's longer. I think actually dimensionally it's almost the same width because Skipper has that rounded rail. This one feels a little narrower to stand on. That's something I'd definitely say is quite different to the V2, is your sort of surface stability. If you're still in those wobbly kind of beginner intermediate stages, this board is probably more tricky to use than the previous version.
You'd almost want to size up a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas the older one was so wide, it gives you that stationary stability. This doesn't get its stability until you've got motion.
But it's kind of evolving its target audience as everyone's skill set's evolving.
Yeah.
And you do gain some stability from length as well, which is increased. So there's a kind of balancing act going on there.
And these sharp rails definitely add to that stability. It feels more like a planted boat in the water. Whereas if you're comparing it to the skipper wing, which is a little bit more rolly, and you know, that it really needs speed before it gets stability. Whereas this feels like it bites the water a lot better.
Yeah, its tracking's incredible, really, isn't it?
The sensation's really similar between those boards when you're up, I feel. They've both got that Appletree quality where you're so connected to the foil because of its construction. They feel amazing.
Yeah, that's it. Again, we've got that vacuum infused, closed cell foam, waterproof. It's pretty much as good as build will get, and it's made in Europe. So, you know, less carbon footprint getting it here. So, Appletree manufacturing. Nothing to argue about.
Yeah, I mean, the Appletree construction, it's so good. I think what stands this board out, if you're looking at all of those in the range, because they've got this expansive range now, which keeps growing, is versatility.
Oh yeah,
like this board here feels like you could have this as a quiver killer, a one board in the quiver where you could ultimately wing it. You know, you could use it as your foil drive board. You were saying,
yeah.
You could choose its size accordingly for what you want to do, and you could kind of do everything.
Because of its narrowness and length, that's kind of where all the foil drive specific boards have been heading. So yeah, if you're looking at using it with a foil drive or an assist of any other brand, there'll be many. This is definitely worth thinking about. In the smaller volumes, probably for your average guy, like 50, 60 litres, that would make a killer foil drive board.
Fast
to go.
And I mean, to compare it to its other ranges and to think about who it might be for, then I think like if you could fault it on one thing, it's that these sharp rails have got loads of benefits, but if they touch down on an angle, then they bite quite sharp.
It's a bit more nippy if you land hard, and that's where the skipper has the advantage.
Exactly.
I'd say.
So if you're going out and you're smashing waves and you're pushing and you're hitting the water a lot, you're probably going to sacrifice the benefits of these for something which has got benefits when it touches down, their skipper wing. Whereas if you want something which is making life easy in all disciplines,
particularly in the form of a takeoff, like the takeoff compared to the skipper wing is so much earlier, and the acceleration is much, much earlier as well.
So you're thinking about who it's for, you know, and who's going to get this board. They come in a massive range of sizes. So 10 litre increments from 40, 50, 60, 70, you know, up to 100 litres. This is a board for someone which is going to probably know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not their first board, but it's their second or their third board. They're progressing on and they're ready to spend a bit more money to get quality, and they know what they're looking for.
Yeah, as a first step down board, I think it's perfect from full displacement, and you can run it as far underneath your body weight as you want, really. So this one's 80 litres. I can get away with this in very light wind at 90 kilos. For you, this is probably bang on body weight. Not
Feels
far
great.
off. Feels big for you.
Yeah, it feels good though.
Yeah.
It feels really good. Like, I think because that box is so far forwards, and just the way the dimensions work, it doesn't feel like a big board.
No.
You're more than happy running this as a daily driver, you know, even though it feels big.
This is it, isn't it? And the connection, because it's so stiff, you don't lose too much through its thickness.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an absolute winner, really.
Really nice board, really versatile board for all sorts of riding styles. And it's going to suit a lot of people. Great addition to the Appletree line.
It makes getting going very, very easy.
Really good. And this is the
marginal conditions.
and that is the Appletree Appleslice V3. We're looking at the 80 litre.